Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. My name is Sarah Simon, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Appleton, Wisconsin. And I'm so excited to stamp with you tonight. You are going to get a little bonus tonight. Um, I was at an event on Friday, and Kathy Miller and I made some stuff for our team, a little gift for our team. And a couple of people asked me, how do you make that? And so I decided tonight I'm going to show you how I made that. A bunch of you jumping on. Kathy Miller's on here. So, yes, she came over to my house last week, Thursday. We always wait till the last minute because we do our best work under pressure, right, Kathy? And so we made, gosh, how many did we end up making, Kath? I'm trying to remember. I think I ended up making 7, and you maybe ended up making 5. So I think we ended up making 12 or something like that, 14, something like that. So I'm going to make another one tonight so that you can see how to make them. I know some of you love 3D items. So you're going to be getting 3 things tonight, 2 cards and a 3D item. Thank you for all of you who have said hello. I could say hello to all of you, but that might take a little bit. How about if I start by showing my Happy Mail? I missed my Happy Mail last week because I was flying by the seat of my pants. Tonight, I had a ton of time because everything I had planned. Um, but I sat working on some things, and all of a sudden I looked up and it said a minute and 35 until I was supposed to go live. And I'm like, what? Where did that time go? I had like 2 hours. So, anyway, I made it on time. And I'm going to share with you some of the cards that I received. Look at this cute patootie thing. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but she even has the little stick that it's on. She has that embossed with our wood grain embossing folder. This came to me from Sue Thomas. Isn't that just adorable? I just love it. And and she's got it written on the inside. This is our everyday arches, which we're going to be using for our little box today as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with those everyday arches. And then I received this card. Oh, love those delightful wishes, I think is the name of the stamp set. And look at that vellum, it is so gorgeous. This is from Karen Roofing. Um, she was thanking me for everything that they got at their demonstrator get together. I do like to spoil my team a little bit. And look at this beautiful thing. And I don't know if she used the same method that we did last week. It kind of looks like it, that she used the debossed method. So this is on the debossed side that she went over it with navy. And then it looks like she went in with her blends and colored in with the lighter blue color and a little bit of pink. This is from Kay Vaneprin, so I don't know if Kay's on here, but I'm guessing that's what she did. And then I received this beautiful card from Marva. Isn't that gorgeous? I believe that this is one of our kits, or it was a paper pumpkin, but I believe that it's something that she designed on her own that wasn't necessarily exactly part of the kit. So thank you so much for all of the Happy Mail. And then demonstrators swap a lot of the times at these events, and I could have just grabbed. I have so many cards. You guys, I cleaned my office, believe it or not. It is clean. Kathy Miller can attest to the fact that it was completely inhabitable. It looked like something from Hoarders. There was stuff all over the floor. So the first picture that I sent to Kathy on Saturday, was the floor is clean. And she sent back and she said, I hope you saved all of your 1-inch straps of DSP because Kelly just showed you how you can use them in a card. And I actually did. They're in a box that I still have to go through. But I do have, it kind of looks like a mess over there because what that is those are all cards that were somewhere laying out in my office. And so I combined them all into one. And now what I have to do is I have them in boxes according to their greeting, whatever the greeting is. And if they don't have something on, then I have a general location for them. So I still have to sort them all that way. but holy cow. And I even got a swap done. I said to my mom, I had to do 21 for a swap. I said, stamping in here sure does go a lot faster when it's a little more organized because I wasted so much time trying to find things. But anyway, I did not swap. If I had done all this before the event on Friday, I probably would have grabbed a whole bunch of my cards and I would have swapped them, even though they weren't technically made to swap. But Amanda, who's on my team, gave me one of her swaps. And look at that coneflower with that beautiful butterfly all colored in. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? This one is Night of Navy, and I believe that's Pretty in Pink and Granny Apple Green that she has on there. Just an absolutely gorgeous card. And then I had one lady who was like, can I please have one of your things that you made for your team? And I'm like, well, I have two team members, well, a team member and a friend that I made one for who were not there. I said, so these two are really for them. So I really don't. So I think she was trying to, well, I don't know if she was trying to guilt me because she probably doesn't know that Catholic guilt works on me really, really bad. But she came over and she goes, well, even though, because you shared with me the YouTube video of where you found it, how about if I give you one of my 3D items? Look at her 3D item. Is that not the cutest? It looks like a popcorn box. And then in it, it has a little thing of popcorn. Okay, so ladies, if someone gave this to you and you have the ability to remake one of them in your box, what would you do? Yep, I reached in the box and I said, here you go. Why don't you take this? I'll just make another one when I get home tonight for my friend who's not here. So she ended up getting one. So anyway, this is so cute, isn't it? And then we all had to make name tags. And so this was my name tag that I made. This I got when I got there. So this actually, my name tag itself, let me see if I can pull this off without ripping. I think I'm going to rip my paper. Oh no, I did it. So that was my name tag. And I had little magnets. So this one on the inside of my shirt, and I put it on there. And then I'm on Ann Hubner's team. So she's Kelly's upline. So I'm her second downline. And then because I presented, wait till you see this. Shannon West, who is our demonstrator development manager for the Great Lakes, she gifted me with a bundle. Now Kelly got a suite because of course Kelly had to do a lot more than me. She did both days and she had to design cards. I just had to give a business presentation. But look at these greetings in here. It's called Light and Wonder. And then the dies, I did open these up and then I closed them back up again. The dies are like trees and mountains. Let me show you these. Look at those dies. Isn't that cool? So I cannot wait to play with these. Now, the paper that comes with them, the designer series paper, looks like the Northern Lights. It's all different like purples and greens and secret sea, dark colors. I mean, it's so cool. So that will be in the new catalog that comes available for demonstrators in August. I think it's like August 5th we can start ordering it. Everyone else will get a chance to start ordering that in September. And then she made me this beautiful card as well. So we had a blast on Friday. And to give you the gist of my presentation, I was supposed to talk about sharing the Stampin' Up! Experience. And I really focused on an invitation. So like we all got introduced to Stampin' Up! By somebody inviting us, right? It's not like we just went one day to a craft store and said, oh, geez, let's see, what hobby can I start working on now? And I just all of a sudden picked up stamping and I taught myself how to stamp. We all like went to a party or did something to learn how to do that. How do we share that experience? And it's by inviting people and inviting them in non-threatening ways. And so I kind of shared a little bit about my background and just about how I've gotten to meet so many amazing people. All of you, even though I haven't met you in person, I look forward to every week coming on here and having my online friends who watch me, I feel connectedness to that as well. And when I miss that as well. And as crazy as life can be sometimes, I do take time to get on here as best I can because I would miss it if I didn't have all of you. So that was kind of the gist of what I was talking about, is just how we share our love for our hobby together. So I have some prizes to give away. I have to stop talking. So I didn't give prizes away last week, so I'm going to start with those. So this little cutie patootie tractor card is going to be going to Brooke Van Bersick, who commented 2 weeks ago on that live. And then this card with the thank you with that beautiful set. Kathy Miller did a gorgeous display of these cards at this event we were at. This is going to Sarah New. So Sarah, I will get that in the mail to you. And then for placing an order. So this would have been from, let me think here, July 1st through the 6th, because this was my live from July 1st. Let's see. And then I went the 8th. So 1st through the 7th. So receiving a pack of these holographic resin dots. These things just shine, and they kind of take on whatever color you put them on is going to Kay Van Efren. It's okay. I will get those in the mail to you. Then last week, I got to flip my card over. Last week, we made all of our cards with the sunflower embossing folder. And so receiving the first card is this one right here, thinking of you. And then we had a greeting on the inside is Sarah Markwart. Okay, so Sarah, I will get that to you. And then I had 2 cards left. I did finish this one up. I added a little gold to that one, and even some gold little gems up here as well. And I did add an inside as well. So receiving this one will be Robin Schilke. So Robin, I'll get this in the mail to you. And then our easel card that had the sandpaper will be going to Julie Gressel. So Julie, I will get that off in the mail to you. And then anyone who placed an order from the 8th until today was put in a drawing and receiving a spool of this braided trim. I was going to say twisted trim, braided trim, which is in petal pink. And you can pull this apart. You can kind of see on this card, I frayed it a little bit on the edges. You can actually pull those apart and use just the strands of it as well. Or you can use it as a full trim and wrap it around a card. Is Denise Umloff. So Denise, I will get this off in the mail to you. So I think it was Denise. Let me look. That one wasn't written on my thing. I got to find my original drawing. Let me look. Denise Umloff. Yes, order. See, this is where I write all your names down. And then I do a drawing. I do a random number, and then I circle all of them. So I do really do what I say I do. I write them all down. So I will get all of this stuff out in the mail. Let's see. I'm going to set that on my counter because I have room now. All right. Are you ready to start stamping? I think I've talked enough. 15 minutes is more than enough. So tonight, what I'm going to be doing, we're going to make one card. Both of the cards are they are a fun fold, but they're a common fun fold. It's nothing that's a new fun fold, but it's all using products that are in our online exclusives that just came out at the beginning of July. And I decided I wanted to use 2 of the stamp sets, or 2 of the, one's a bundle and one's a suite of products that I haven't used yet. And so I was challenging myself to do something different so you can see a variety of things. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my demonstration. There we are. And I'm going to see if the shadows are okay. I kind of like the coloring of that right now, but I don't like how crooked this is. Let me just straighten that a little. or I can't. We'll just straighten my mat a little bit. Let's see, which way do I have to go? That way. It looks a little straighter. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with these painterly pears. Now, we got a chance to see this when we were in Orlando for the incentive trip. And if I'm going to be completely honest with you, my reaction was, pears? What am I going to do with pears? Why would I put pears on a card? But let me tell you, at this last event that we were at on Friday, I saw some amazing cards made with this suite of products. And so this is the designer series paper. Has a lot of different greens. It's got some darling duckling in there as well, and some secret sea background that really we're going to be using that one. This is my favorite piece in this for sure. It has some really low profile. These are really, really low. I think they're even called low profile. Yeah, sparkle dots. And they come in a yellow and a green and a bluish color. So those are just gorgeous. And then we have this ribbon that has mossy meadow-ish, old olive-ish looking on one side. And then on the other side, there is gold, and there's even gold mixed in here. So this ribbon is absolutely gorgeous as well. And then we have the bundle, which is you have a large pear, the outline of a pear, the inside of the pear, you've got a pair of pears. And then you have the inside of that. This is the stem for the pear. You've got some of these little flowers. This is some of the texturing for the inside of the pears, and then some very, very cute greetings. And so I love this one. We're going to use this one tonight. A good friend is a gift. Isn't that true? So this is the bundle that we're going to be using for our first card. And now I have to see where I put down the dimensions, because I did print them, and silly me, I printed them on two sides because I needed two sides of a sheet of paper. So or two pieces of paper, and I accidentally printed on both sides. Let me see where I put them. I cut them apart on my trimmer. So much for staying organized after cleaning, right? Okay, so let's see. I pulled this apart from my gift that I got, and I put this here. Oh, look at that. They got buried by all that stuff I set over there, right? I had all these things that I put over there, and I put it right on top of my dimensions. Okay, let me grab the correct one. This is the correct one for our first card. Whew. Sweating it there for a second. I'm like, what the heck? I know I printed them. All right. Let's see here. So our card base, this is going to be a joyfold card, which is one of my favorites. It's a very, very simple layout with a double fold, and fold that opens on the left and a fold that opens on the right. The card base that I chose is Secret Sea. Okay, so this measures 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, and I scored it at 5 1/2. Now, I was going to use a card that I had made for, I think I made it for a swap. And I'd given it to Kathy to put in her little display, but I'm like, I've used that suite of products before. I'm going to challenge myself to use the same fold, but I'm going to use different products. Okay, then also in the Secret Sea is your Joyfold, which is 8 inches by 3 inches, and it's scored at 4. So this is just going to set right inside of there. And how the Joyfold works is it opens on the right and it opens on the left to see your greeting. Okay, then I have coordinating cardstock, and I used Petal Pink. Look at how these colors look together. Doesn't that look amazing? Loved it. I kind of used Amanda's card, to be honest with you, when I was designing this yesterday, because I loved how her navy and the petal pink looked together. So when I was looking for colors to pull out of that designer paper, the pink popped out at me right away, and it was petal pink. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have one that is 4 by 2 1/2. All right, then the designer series paper that I chose is this one from the Pears. So this one is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then I have one that is 3 7/8 by 2 3/8. Right, and then I have some designer series paper that's going to go on the front of that joy fold. And I loved how this petal pink went along with the color that I had in the background there. So this measures 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then I have a basic white for the inside that measures the exact same thing. All right, and then I have a couple of scraps, one to stamp some pears and one to stamp our greeting. And then I also die cut this from our Stylish Shapes. It's got that little stitching on the edge, and this is in Secret C. All right, let's do our stamping and that kind of stuff. Let me set this aside, and I'll bring that back out when I have the entire card done. And if I forget, please tell me. Yeah, Kathy, that this is my favorite in here. So when I was going to use it, I'm like, I'm going to give them the best because this is my favorite. I don't know if I ever flipped over the other side of this paper. Here we go. So it does have some Secret C. I used this one with our Silly Safari. And then this is some Darling Duckling that has some petal pink in it. All right, so those are the other sides. And the dies that are in there do cut out on this one. They do cut out these pears, these leaves, and this pair of pears, and also these flowers. So if you wanted these petal pink flowers, the dies also cut those out. All right, now let's get to stamping. I'm going to have to make sure that when I'm done, I clean off that counter tonight, because otherwise I'm going to run into the same mess that I ran into when I couldn't find my directions, right? I'm starting with Secret C, and what I'm going to do with the Secret C is on my bigger scrap, I'm going to stamp the outline of those pears. Now you can't even tell that that's Secret C and not Basic Black, but it is Secret C. And I'm going to stamp A Good Friend is a Gift. Now this is just about 3/4 of an inch wide. We're going to cut around that, so it doesn't really matter, but if you want to know about how wide you need that. And then on the inside, I'm just going to stamp the word thank you for being that friend, right? Now let me see. I haven't made this one yet. Should we do something a little bit different? How about if we haven't done the inside yet. How about if let me take a little bit of a scrap, because I didn't put a scrap down here, and let's put these pears kind of coming off like this. Oh, I like that. And let's put the thank you right down here. That'll give us, oh, look at, I got, I'll flip it over. I don't know what I got in my hand. It's green. Oh, I bet I bet I nicked it on my little sponge daubers when I put my hand in there. Let's try that again. I was liking how that looked, though. Did you like that? Thanks, Kay. Okay, so we'll do our pears again. Woo. And then we'll put our little thank you down here, and that'll leave a nice little area for us to write a message to our friend. Okay, let's put those back. And then I'm going to bring in the inside of my pears. And I decided I really liked Granny Apple Green as the base color. Let me get a chamois here. I'm going to take that off because I did add a little bit of Old Olive to it. So I'm going to ink it up with Granny Apple Green. I'm going to take a sponge dauber and I'm just going to tap in some of that ink off just to make it a little bit lighter. Then I'm going to open up my Old Olive and I'm going to take that and just kind of stamp it along the base, kind of along the edge of these pears. Then I'm going to huff it. And let's get this out of here now. I'm going to stand up so I can see. That's probably a good look on my camera. Oh, it's off a little bit, but that's okay. We're going to go with it because you know what? I have, through the magic of TV, I do have that done. Looking over my camera is never fun. All right, I cleaned that off again. Let's do this other one. And we'll ink it up in the Granny Apple Green and tap just a little bit of it off. And then add our Old Olive. Now you could do this with Old Olive and Mossy Meadow. You could do it with, some people were doing it with Darling Duckling and then adding a little bit of green to it. I'm sorry if my head is in here. There we go. All right, now these smaller, this pair of pears does not have anything for the leaves and for that branch. And so I'm going to bring in my blends, and I have my Old Olive, and I have my Pretty Pecan Pie, Pretty Pecan. Oh my goodness, that's Pretty Peacock, Sarah. All right, I'm going to start with the little branch, and I'm basically, because this is so tiny, let me get off of there, because this is so tiny, I'm basically just adding some dots in between those two lines so that I can stay between the lines. If I try to draw it, I'm going to be outside the line. So you can kind of see how I just put that right inside those two lines. I'm going to do the same thing here. Go like that. Get that branch. And then for my leaves, I'm going to take the dark Old Olive. I'm just going to kind of start at the base and color in a little bit at the base. Get that little vein of the leaf. Guys, after my live tonight, I was going to go outside and my dad came over yesterday, helped me with pulling my weeds. I had 3 weeks where I hadn't pulled them. And let me tell you, I don't know why. We've had a lot of rain, so I don't know if that's why it happens. But I had weeds that were as high as my waist. And it's not like I haven't done it all summer. I've been going out every Sunday. I go out, but for 2 weeks I was at the cottage, and so I didn't do it. And so he came over yesterday to help me. He puts the shovel in the ground and digs them up, and then I bend over and pull them up. Well, it was hotter than Hades yesterday, and it was just like I got to a point and I wasn't feeling well. I had an upset stomach. I still had one today for half the day. And I just was not feeling well at all. And finally, I just said, this last part, I'm just going to come out after my live and I'm just going to do it tomorrow. He goes, well, then I'll come over tomorrow. What time will that be? And I said, well, probably like around 7:30. He saw me today. He was at my job because they came for a funeral. And he's like, I'm just going to go this afternoon and I'm just going to get it done. I'm like, well, will you just loosen them up and I'll go out and pick them out? I walk back there. They're all cleared up. Ugh, he's such a good dad, but he shouldn't be doing that by himself. So, Dad, if you're watching, as Mom's watching, thank you. I do appreciate it. I was going to call you later. I didn't really have time between when I got home and when I went live. So, but yeah. Weeds, they're no fun. Owning a home is no fun sometimes, right? All the work you have with it. All right, so there are our pears and our little pears for the inside. And then there is a die to cut this out. So through the magic of TV, look at that. I have that done. See how much better I lined it up on this one in my hand. Rather, look at how the edges, I missed that. So there we go. There are our little pears. And you know what? Let's do this. I didn't leave any designer paper, so let's just take our envelope and let's do one of our pears on the corner of our envelope as well. All right, and Robin, you're late. You know what, Robin, you won. So you'll be getting some happy mail from me. You'll be getting one of my cards in the mail. Amanda's hopping in late. Amanda, I showed your beautiful swap card. So everyone got to see how beautiful that is. Yeah, Sarah, I do have a very sweet dad. My dad's 80 years old and he still comes over and helps me out. I feel so like, I feel so guilty sometimes. Like, shouldn't have to do that. He's got his own yard he's got to worry about, and he doesn't have to worry about mine as well. But I sure did appreciate it yesterday. All right, so there's my Granny Apple Green. And the old olive will add to the edges. Lila's here tonight. Can you hear her in the background? All right. Go and line this up. There, that's better. All right, and then oh, Debbie, you're in Wapaka. Well, that's where my family's cottage is. We go there. That's where I go on the weekends. I wasn't there this last weekend. We had a graduation party for my niece. I should have taken a picture and shown you the graduation card that I made for her. She loved it. It was pink, her favorite color. It was strawberry slush. I didn't do her school colors. She wasn't a huge fan of high school. She was ready to get out into the real world and start working already. She's going to beauty school. So, yeah, so we had fun celebrating her on Saturday. So I had that event on Friday, had that on Saturday, had children's liturgy and picking weeds yesterday and getting a swap done. So it was a busy weekend, but very productive. Got my stamp room cleaned. 10 miles south of Wapaka. All right. We are on McCrossin Lake in Wapaka is where our place is. It's the lake where everybody anchors their boat down to swim when it's really hot. Yeah, Debbie, I do like this sweet. I was telling them, I don't know if you were on when I said this, but when it first came out, I was like, pears, why would you put pears on a card? But it has really grown on me with all of the things that I've seen. All right, time to start assembling our card. Here's the one that I just cut out. All right, we are going to attach our designer series paper, both of them, to this petal pink. Whoops, helps if you take the cover off. It usually comes out a little bit better that way. That's a tip for you, in case you didn't know that. Purposely did that so I could give you that little tip. Just kidding. Slap happy today. I'm telling dad jokes. All right. Hi, Karen. We're glad you jumped on, even if it's late. All right. So that's going to be our background there. Now, you could have used a secondary color if you wanted to. For the left flap, I kind of liked how it looked having both of them be the same, but I've already done it where it's different. I've already done it where I did one of these, like this base. I did, and the second card is going to be, it's not the same type of fold, but it's going to be a similar type of fold where we have a background like this. And on that one, I ended up embossing rather than putting designer paper there. So, oh, Denise, I'm glad that you like this fold. I come back to this all the time. And you can do it this way if you want to as well. So you can do a joy fold this way where you open it up and down. You can also do it where this flap is diagonal. And it's like this, and this is kind of like you cut at the diagonal. Instead of cutting off here, you just cut part of the front off. And you can do a diagonal one as well. There's a lot of different ways to do a joy fold card. So, but I love it. Okay. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong way. I'll go this way. I'm not sure if that's right or if that's wrong. And with a joy fold, with any sort of fun fold, you really do want to make sure you burnish these things because otherwise it's not going to lay very flat for you. All right, and then we are going to put this on the front, and I just center it. Don't worry about that little flap. We'll just tuck it in afterwards. Just center it as best you can, top and bottom, and right and left. Thanks, Julie. This is going to pop in there like that, and we'll put our little greeting. Here's where I got my fingerprints. Whoops. I'm going to try to line it up on that side. There we go. And then I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm just going to cut around this. I liked how that looked better. I tried flagging it first. I tried cutting it on a diagonal. And like I said, I haven't completely put this card together. I put it together using different paper and a different focal image. But I did not put all of this paper together until right now. I just cut it all and said, this is what I'm going to make for my card. And I just kind of held it up there. And I liked how it looked cutting it out like that. I did give you a, hi, Denise. I did give you a little bit of a hint that in another video that you can take the stamped image. Let's see if I can grab that. Okay, you could put this down before you stamped it and you could trace around that stamp, the stamp itself, and then that would be where you would end up cutting it if you have a hard time figuring out where you should, like how you should cut around it. All right, I'm going to take this ribbon that we have and I'm going to make a faux bow, and I want my faux bow, I want the green to be showing and not the gold. So I'm going to make sure that when I fold this over, the green's coming up like so. So I have green. And I'm just going to go like that. Flip it over and grab some Scotch tape and tape that in place. Oops, I moved it a little bit. Looks like it needs to come this way a little bit. There we go. I'll throw a little bit more over here since I didn't center that very well. And we'll trim this up. This is my paper sips instead of my ribbon one, but we'll get it. Goodness, there we go. All right, and then we're going to put dimensionals on that. Since the ribbon's under it, it's not going to lay flat anyway with regular glue, so it's best just to raise it up on some dimensionals. And I kind of want the ribbon to be going from corner to corner like that. Okay, and then we're going to take our pears. We're going to pop those in there. I think I'm just going to lay those flat. You could put them up on dimensionals if you wanted to. I want to put my greeting up on dimensionals, and then I would have to put it on double the dimensionals because it would have to go on top of there. I want it just to go like that, so it's on the pears just a little bit. So because of that, I opted to put my pears flat. Otherwise, I would have to take 2 of these dimensionals and put, like, stack them on top of each other. Got a little bit of glue on there. And a good friend is a gift. Oh, and we have to bling this up. Let's take the blue ones. I haven't used those yet. I did find, I think it was Kelly Atchison who was on the other night, and nope, that wasn't it. I think that was the Halloween ones that they realized you couldn't use the take your pick tool with it because I don't know if it took the glitter off or it did something, but so we're going to go ahead and put one there. Take a bigger one. I love these because they are low profile. So that means that they go through the mail without having to add some extra postage. Let me go ahead and pick this up like that, and we'll just put one down here. So there is our first card. All right, a good friend. I've got this a little crooked. Let me straighten it. It's going to bother me. Okay, a good friend is a gift, and then thank you for being a friend. All right, my ribbon's just a little bit bigger than I like it, but it'll be okay. It fills up that whole area a little bit better. I was thinking I would have this circle over to the left a little bit, and then, but it works out centered too. So there is our first card, and we've got our envelope with our little pair of pears. And isn't that paper just, oh, it's so beautiful. Like, I wondered why I needed pears, but look at that paper. There's pears mixed in with all those beautiful flowers. All right, so that is our first, I don't know why this, there we go. Just trying to get my, there we go. I don't know. All right, so there's our first card. All right, let me set that off to the side. Someone just said how sweet. Oh, that's Sarah's comment. Yeah, okay. Thank you guys. Oh, you know what I forgot? Here we go. Here are the dimensions. Sorry, some of them got a little bit of stamps on there, but I'll put this next to it. So you can do a screenshot if you want to do a screenshot. So you have the picture. Let me move it down just a tad. You have a picture of the card, and you have the dimensions, and then you can take a screenshot, and you can blow it up if you want so that you can read the dimensions a little bit clearer. All right, hopefully that gave you enough time to do your screenshot. I think I have everything in there. I'm sorry for those shadows, but I think the lighting's just a little bit better when I leave my light on. All right, so there is our card one. I'm going to leave this here because I'm going to have to flip it again for the next one. All right, here's going to be our dimensions for the next one. And that one is using, here we go, this bundle. It's July after all, so we've got Christmas in July. So there's the Jolly Holly bundle. So there's like a little bell, a poinsettia, the little holly, this little branch, a bunch of different greetings that you can actually put together. So we're going to have a Merry Christmas. We're going to use all of those. We're going to use this little May the Spirit of the Season bring you hope and happiness. And then we have a joy that you can cut out. You can cut out the bells, the poinsettia, the holly, and that little branch. And then I wanted to show you what this does. I'm not using this, but I wanted to show you what it does. So if you emboss and it did cut one of mine because of where the embossing was. So let me bring that little piece in here. All right, so when you emboss and you use the die, it doesn't cut these out completely, but what you can do is it cuts them out enough that if you wanted to, you could take the leaves and you could kind of pull some of them up like that, and you could have another color underneath them. So it's a very different type of hybrid embossing folder. Normally it cuts and embosses, and this it cuts, but it doesn't cut them out completely. But if you wanted one cut out completely, all you'd have to do is really snip it in a couple of different areas, and you could cut that out, because notice how this is at the end. So it did cut this out because it had nothing to hold that in place. This one is pretty close as well. All right, so how I did that is I took the embossing folder and I opened it up and I took the die, and it sets right inside of there. It kind of clamps right in there. I put my paper in there, closed it, and ran it through with the specialty plate on the top. So it just had plate 1, and then this, and then that specialty plate, plate 4, and I ran it through, and that's how I got this. Now you don't have to use it this way. In the one that I'm using, I just embossed and I didn't cut. All right, put this back in here, or otherwise I'm going to lose it. All right, so what we have for this, and I'm using some designer paper that even demonstrators can't get yet. This is going to be in the new mini catalog. I happened to win it when I was on the incentive trip, and so I decided I was going to go ahead and use it. I had to make a swap card that I put out in the mail today, and it had to be using products that were in the the July online exclusives. So they have a bonus, so they're getting a little bit of new stuff from the new mini catalog as well. Okay, so this is Real Red, and it's 8.5 by 5.5, so it's just a half a sheet of cardstock. And I scored it at 2 1/8, and I scored it at 4 1/4. So I'm making this into a Z fold like that. And then our coordinating cardstock I'm using is Garden Green. And so this I ran through the embossing folder and I didn't cut it. I just left it exactly how it is. Lisa, it's still 84. I know, it's still so hot out. It's crazy. I thought if we did the weeds tonight, it would be so much cooler. But we've had a haze from the wildfires in Canada, and it's been really bad. Like the air quality's been really bad, but that seemed to have gotten better when I got out of work today. Okay, this is also Garden Green, and this measures 4 by 1 7/8. This one was 4 by 5 1/4. And then this is the paper that I decided to use from that stuff that's coming out. Look at the back, has these little stars on it too. I thought this was a fun plaid. This is 3 7/8 by 1 3/4. All right, then I used our textured notes dies. And this is number, let's see if we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's number 5. Okay, so it's this one right here, the third from the largest. And that I did in basic white. And then the dies for this stamp set had 2 rectangles as well. They're 2 different sizes. So I did the large one in Real Red, and the small one is in basic white. All right, and then I have a scrap to stamp our, you can see it's going to be the little holly that's there. And I do have a piece of this left that we'll put on our envelope here. You could also do the holly if you didn't want to put designer paper. You could do that in the corner as well. All right, let's do our stamping. And the other thing that I'm using with this that I thought went really well, you know how you couldn't get your hands on these last year? They didn't retire, and they're not on the last chance list. So they are still available. Look at, I was waiting so long to get some of these, and I had so many projects I wanted to do with them. And then when they finally came in, I'm like, I'm getting my hands on these, so I have them. So I've got a couple of packs here. So I'm going to be using a few of these. So I definitely had enough for my 21 sweat cards that I had to do. And then this red and white baker's twine was carried over. I used it on that tractor card as well, and I thought it worked perfect with the red and the white that was inside of here, and then along with the green. So I've got some garden green ink that I'm going to be using, and I have some memento. So let me do my memento first. I'm just going to be stamping that holly, and then I'm going to do the same thing. This is going to be the inside of my card. So I'm going to do one there. And then on the outside in the garden green, I'm going to use that long saying. I love like long greetings sometimes because almost everything we have is landscape. So when you get one that's in portrait, I love that. So this says, may the spirit of the season bring you hope, happiness, and love. So I'm going to do that kind of in the center here. Look at that. Beautiful. And then I'm going to use some of these, and I probably could have put these all on one block. I have them on 3 separate blocks. But on the inside, in the same font where it says, may the of the bring you hope, that part is have a Merry Christmas. So I'm going to stamp that as well. So line 1 is going to be have a. I wanted mine stacked. I didn't want them all the way across, and that's why they put them like this, so that you can, if you want them all the way across, you could do them all the way across. If you want them stacked on top of each other, you can stamp them on top of each other. So it makes it a little bit more flexible. Whoops, sorry, just knocked my camera. Whew, I got a lot of ink on that side. Let's see. Oh, I did a pretty good job. All right, let's close this up. I'm going to bring in my light real red, and I'm going to color in the berries with that. And we don't have a garden green. And sometimes I use, like, I combine the shaded spruce along with some old olive to make it look like garden green. But when I put my shaded spruce on, I'm like, that looks close enough. So I ended up just using the shaded spruce and just went with it. So I don't know why we don't have a garden green. I don't know if it's because the shaded spruce is so close to it that you could really get away with it, but we've never had a garden green Stampin' Right marker. Just like we don't have a gorgeous grape. We don't have a crushed curry. There's just a couple of them that I don't know why, but we just do not have them. I don't know if it's because, like I said, like the light shaded spruce looks enough like garden green that they didn't feel they needed to do any, but then I don't understand why they did mossy meadow, because the dark old olive kind of looks a lot like, like the light mossy meadow. So yeah, well, I'm not sure. I don't question. I just figure something out and use it. So I just use the shaded spruce, and I'm like, it looks close enough in a town this size, right? All right. Really, this coloring goes pretty fast. All right, and then there is a die to cut this out, and through the magic of TV, I should have one in my envelope already cut out for me. There it is. Okay, we are ready. I'm going to put paper on that, so we're good with that. Put this off to the side here. Let's go ahead and put this together. All right, so our designer paper we're going to layer on Here it is. This garden green. There's just a little bit of the garden green coming out. And then, actually, before we do that, let's use our bone folder. That a good burnish. And that one there, a good burnish. All right, so this is going to go on. I want to get it as close to having even edges all the way around. And then I'm going to use my liquid glue for this because this is 3D, or this is embossed and it's a 3D embossed. So some of those little grooves in there are really deep. And if I use my liquid glue, it kind of goes into all those little cracks and crevices. Again, I'm just going to try to make it even on all of the sides, especially these three sides. If it's a little bit off on that side, you don't see it as much. Okay, and then we're going to take this, and that's going to go in the center there. And again, I'm going to use liquid glue because it goes around all the unevenness of that embossed layer. And I'm just centering that as best I can. Hi, Beth. I'm glad you could join us. You can always go back and watch from the beginning. This DSP, this is going to be in the new holiday catalog that'll come out for customers in September and demonstrators in August. I happened to win a pack of it when I was on the incentive trip and completely forgot that that's where it was from that. And I did my whole swap card and I'm like, oh, shoot. That's not in the online exclusives yet. So this is something to look forward to in the new holiday catalog. I can show you some of the other papers in that stack. So it's got some of these things that you can cut apart. Then on the back of that is another garden green plaid. And they have 8 sheets of everything, which is kind of nice. There's this where you could cut this out and use it as a strip on your card. And then there's this on the back. And hi, Carol. And then we have these little ornaments with also a little strip. And on the back of that is a really light, it's like a soft seafoam. And then you have these little cutouts as well. So it's got like these little flags that you can use and ornaments and poinsettias and things like that. So yeah, that is the paper. Something to look forward to. Little sneak peek that I wasn't planning to be a sneak peek. I thought it was available right now. I thought it went with this set, so that's why I thought it was available. Can't keep track of everything, I guess. So many changes all the time. Okay, so may the spirit of the season bring you happiness and hope. I'm going to use the glue dot and pop this right in this corner here, kind of up by where it says that word love. And then let's take some dimensionals and throw those here. And then the center one I'm going to put here so I know how far over I can go. And I want to line it up so that there's kind of like those 3 sides have about the same amount. Like that. So it opens like that. I love making sounds when I open things, when they're fun like that. Let's use a bow maker. And I'm going to cut 2 strips about the same size. So you can either wrap this around here twice, and then your bow part, like the big loopy part, will have 2 loops, but your strings will only have 1 string. If you cut 2 strands like this and you wrap it around, not only will your loops have 2 pieces of the twine, but your little tails will also have 2 pieces. And I wanted it to be a little bit substantial because there was quite a bit of an area there for it to fill in. I put way more than I needed, but we'll, oh, this isn't my ribbon scissors. Let's see if I pull it really tight. There we go. All right, we'll put this back in here. And let's see, glue dot. Here's our glue dot. I'm going to roll it up between my fingers, make it tiny, and then I'm going to stick it kind of in the center where I want the knot to be. And then press that knot right in there. There we go. Now, who knows? They might be coming out with some red or some green ribbon. I don't know. We haven't seen the new holiday catalog, so there might be other things that are going to go with this when it comes out. I just used what I had. So, again, I'm going to use these fun little peppermint circles, which are red and white, and kind of go along with that. And then we'll throw one over here as well. And of course, we need a little wink of Stella. We'll give those berries a little bit of the wink. And we'll do the ones on the inside too. Now, unfortunately, I don't think, usually you can't see that wink of Stella. Oh yeah, you can kind of see that glitter a little bit. Can you see that glitter and that little glitter that's on there? So there is our second card, our little Christmas in July card. There are the dimensions if you wanted to do a screenshot so that you have the dimensions along with what the card looks like. Thanks, Marva. I did this for a swap, so I hope the ladies that get it love it too. And thanks, Julie. You don't know everybody's taste, right? And so you don't know, like, oh, what I put together, are they going to like? I have no idea. I usually like the cards that I get, so I'm pretty hopeful that the people are going to like what I send to them as well. So, all right, so there's that card. Let's go ahead and take our envelope. I just put my cover back on. For those of you that hopped on late, I did share a tip that the tape dispenser works better when you take this off of it. So in case you didn't know that, because I was trying to use it with the cover on it, and it helps when you put the cover on the right way too. All right, here we go. Same bad joke, just a little later in my demonstration. So sorry for those of you that had to hear my dad joke twice. All right, well, go ahead. I can use some of this over here yet for another card. Yeah, I made 21 of those yesterday. So I had to die cut out all those little rectangles. I had to die cut, color all those and cut them out. So it was a card that took a little while to make. It wasn't a quick one to put together when you had to make 21 of them. Isn't that cute with the matching envelope? Yay. All right, so that is our card number 2. And now I promised you a bonus. So let me share with you. So at Easter time, let me grab this. Right after Easter, one of my team members, Mary Van Donlen, gave me this cute little basket. So she borrowed, look at this, I didn't even realize she stamped on the bottom of it. She borrowed my meant to be dies. I thought she borrowed my everyday arches, but she didn't. She borrowed my meant to be dies, these hexagons, and she came with this little basket. And so when I was looking for something to do for my team, I'm like, oh, I should make one of those baskets. So Kathy and I sat down to make them. And if you look at hers on the inside, she has like 2 layers of the paper. This, here we go. Let's see. These everyday arches. She's got 2 layers. And she has this beautiful handle. Kathy and I got them made without putting the inside layer on and without putting the handle. And we're like, these look pretty darn cute. And by the time you fill them with something, you're not going to see all of the little, pieces of cardstock that we had to glue in there to make this together. So I'm going to show you how to make it without the handle and how to make it so that you don't have the pieces on the inside. But I'll explain to you how you can change it. There's one piece that I'm going to actually cut with you because I want you to show you how easy it is to do that. So here are our dimensions, and let me grab, stuff got buried again, as usual. I put things over there and they covered it. So I'm using my everyday arches, and I'm using my meant to be dies, which I had out to show you. Here they are. Okay, and then here are the pieces that we're going to need, and we got to cut just a little bit. All right, so here's what Kathy and I ended up with. Okay, so it doesn't have the handle. We gave them a pack of gum, a little thing of 2 Oreos, some Werther's caramels, and some Dove chocolates. Ooh, this one's missing a Dove chocolate. Oh no, maybe it is missing a Dove. Oh no, there it is. It got hidden back here. So this is what we gave all of our team members on Friday as like a little gift. We had it sitting at their place. So we thought that that looked pretty cool like that it didn't really need to have the handle. We figured this would be really nice for even Thanksgiving to put at a table if you did something with fall colors. You could also maybe put like a name tag, like one of these you could put across like this with the person's name if you wanted to do it as a place setting, and put whatever. You can put quite a bit of stuff inside of these. This is the smallest that you can make this. So what I've cut out already for this is I did cut out the smallest of the hexagons. So there's the smallest of the hexagons. And then in cardstock, so this is Timid Tiger, I did the second from the smallest of the arches. So the only 2 arches you're going to use for this are the smallest one and the next one in. So my cardstock is the second one, and I have 6 of those. So 1, 2, 3. This is a great way to use up scraps because these are all kind of tiny. Do I have 5 there? Yeah, 5 and 6. And then I used this designer paper. This I think is one of my favorites in that pack. So I have 6 of those. And again, I just found scraps, but you do want to have it in the right direction. So if you have a scrap that's really tiny, you can't really use that. All right, then I wanted to show you how easy it is to do this next part, because you might be looking at that and saying I'd have to have 6 of those things and I have to have 6 of those. Watch how Kathy and I did this. Kathy thought I was kind of genius because I figured this out, but anyhow. So what I did was it has to be 1 by 1 1/4, and on the 1-inch side, it has to be scored at a 1/2 inch. So what I did is I cut a strip at 1 inch. Okay. Then I scored it. Get my cutter out of here. I scored it at a 1/2. So now this is scored where I need it to go. And now I need 6 of these that are at 1 1/4. So all I have to do is go, and I like doing 1 1/4 on this side. I just have to cut all of these, and that way I don't have to score every single one. I just had to score once, and I should be able to get all 6 of these. Isn't that genius? Hi, Debbie. We're on to my 3D item that I'm sharing with them, which is kind of a bonus tonight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so there are those 6, and I could cut a couple of more if I'm making more boxes. All right, then the next one is on the 1 1/2 inch side. So I'm going to cut this at 1 1/2 inches. I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch. And then I have to cut at 2 inches. Now this one I'm going to need 2 of these because you can't quite get 6 out of them because you need 12 inches to get 6 of them. This is only 11 inches. So I'm only going to be able to get 5. 4. There's my 5. And I'm going to have to do one more. Let's just do this. Let's do 2. I don't have to trim the whole thing again because I only need one more. I'm going to have, hi Becky. All right, and we'll score that at 3/4. Right, so those are all of my pieces. Now, I was going to glue some of these ahead of time, and I was going to have all of this cut ahead of time, but I wanted to show you just how simple it is to do all of that. You do want to make sure that you score these pretty good. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We had to cut all of our stuff yet last Thursday, and we were done. Gosh, Kathy came over, I think about 5-ish, and by 8, we had 12 of these babies all done and all stuffed, and she was heading home. And we ate in there too. We ordered Culver's and had supper as well. So we did pretty good. You could get quite a few of these out if you just cut all the stuff ahead of time. All right, these are just going to, see, you got to take that off. How many times am I going to do that tonight? I'm just going to put glue on the back of all of these, so I just have to pick this up once. All right, and then just layer these on here. See how quickly that goes together? You could use liquid glue for this too. I need the arch heads. I know, Melanie. Are they on back order again? I know they've been on back order for a long time. I've looked, like I was getting ready for a card buffet. Yes, though, for those of you who are local, Kathy and I are planning to do a card buffet the last week in July on Thursday night, I think it is. I'll get it out in the mail to you. But I was looking, and of the cards that I have already, and I only have 8 of them, 3 of them use these everyday arches. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm like addicted. Okay, we're going to take these smaller ones. There should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where are the rest? Here we go, 5, 6. And what you're going to do is you're going to take where your fold is, and you're going to line that up along the edge of the hexagon. Now, who did I get this from? Stamp with Amore. If you go to YouTube and you search for Stamp with Amore, I think is what it's called. She does this size, which is the little one, and then she does one that's bigger. And then you're going to line this up on there. When you use liquid glue, you just have to hold it a second. I really like the liquid glue on this only because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room, and it also, but it's also very secure. Okay, so again, where the crease is, you're going to line up on the next one of the hexagons. That's why you need 6 of them. Now, if you wanted to, you could put this one on, and then I could come and put this one. Like if you wanted to get all of these done first, this is what I started to do when I was doing my last ones. At first, I did all of the little bottom pieces, and then I added the arch on right away. And then as I was on like number 4, I'm like, I think I can put all these little pieces on at once, and that'll work. And it did. So these do, so if you look, it's not the prettiest thing on the inside of this box, right? So the box is not the prettiest. What dies did I use for the hexagon? I used the Meant to Be dies. These are an online exclusive with the little bees, the little bit bigger bees, and it was the smallest one. And she does have one that uses a bigger one and uses the bigger arches to get a little bit bigger basket. So you could look that one up as well. And it's Stamping with Amore. I think she uses the pink and white paper that's from that birthday celebrations. It's really cute. Okay, so you see how you see all of this paper overlapping. So when you're done, you could cut another one of those hexagons out and you could put it over the top of this. And you see how you see this on here? If that bothers you, you could cut another one of these out and you could layer it over the top of it so that you don't see that. So if I look inside of Mary's and I take all of her stuff out, I don't see any of that stuff because she's covered all of those up. All right, you can do that. Kathy and I didn't. It would have been more die cutting and we thought it looked okay the way it was. All right, then we're going to come in here and I'm going to go like this and add some glue here. So if you go to Stamping with Amore, she shows to cover all of those up. That's like her last step. And you can even, if you wanted to, you could do like the designer paper, you could do in a bigger one, and you could actually line the inside either with the same pattern of designer paper, or you could do like what the back of the designer paper is if you wanted to. So you could have an inside lining to all of it as well too. Like I said, we wanted to fill them really full. We figured we're not going to be able to see that. And so we opted not to cover ours. And we were running short on time. Couple of different reasons. All right, and then we've got one more. So I cannot take credit for creating this. This was completely something that I found online after I got this gift from Mary. I was looking for it. Okay, so now we need this to hold together. So that's what these little things are going to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to put the glue, you're going to have your crease so that you have like a mountain fold. And you're going to put your glue on either end. And you don't need a lot. What you're going to do is you're going to put that crease in between the two and you're going to set it down. And then you want the distance from the crease to where your arch is to be about the same on either side. So I want this distance right here and that distance to be about the same, and press and hold it. Okay, then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm in a mountain fold. I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue there. I'm going to put that fold in between my two sides. And I'm going to press it down on one side, press it down on the other side. And again, I want the distance between the two of those to be about the same as it is over there as well. I'm just kind of keep going back and looking at that. All right, mountain fold, glue, glue, put that fold between the two pieces, press and press. I know, Mom, these would make really, really cute little gifts at the table for the shower, right? We already ordered stuff, so I don't think that's going to happen, but they could be really cute for a shower. Like I said, for Thanksgiving, there's a lot of different things that you could My mom didn't say that. I just am kind of thinking in her head that she's thinking that, like, oh, those could be really cute to have on the tables for the shower. They could be. Don't think that's going to happen, though. We've already got little goodie bags that we ordered that go along with our theme. All right. You do want to make sure you hold it like that last one. I didn't hold it long enough, and it started to come apart. So I had to do a little bit of pressing there to get it back together. Okay, so when you have it in place, make sure you're giving it a good press so it holds in place. And I have one left. Hold it in place. And there's our little box. Look at that. And all we did was we stuffed them. So now see how on the inside you can see all those papers overlapping? So that if that really bothers you that you can see that, then all you have to do is cut another one that's this second size. And you can either do it with designer paper or you could do it with more of the Timid Tiger. And you could just put it right over the top of that. And what it would do is it would just hide all of those little scraps that are there. And same thing with the bottom. Cut another one of those little hexagons and cover that so that you don't see all of those little scraps. But if you're going to fill it with stuff like we did, once we filled it with things, you couldn't see all of that stuff anyway. So that's where we said we're just going to make executive decisions that it's hidden enough with all the candy and things that we put in there. And you can look at how much stuff we put in there. It's a pretty substantial box. So again, here are the dimensions of that. I don't know if that helps to have it set that way. Mary even stamped on the bottom of hers, but it's a nice firm box because it's, you know, it's got a flat bottom. And those are the 6 little score things. And I showed you the little trick with that one so that you could easily get a whole bunch of those done at once. So I cut all of those. And Kathy was die cutting all the stuff. So we both brought our everyday arches. So she had 2 arches going at a time every time she went. Actually, she could have had like 4 going through probably at a time, but she was doing about 2 at a time with both of our dies. I never even brought my hexagon thing out. She used hers every time. But yeah, we just kind of cranked out about 12 of these or 13 of them, whatever it was, last Thursday night in just a couple of hours. So they come together pretty fast. All right, I think that's it. Let me come back to you. Here I am. Yay. So we've got our little box. This is what it looks like when I don't have it on the other camera. This was Mary's, if you couldn't see that real well. And she had a cute little tag on it. And again, we thought that looked maybe a little bit more Eastery or springy. And so we just decided we were going to go without the handle, but ours, you can see all of our little imperfections on the inside. All right, that is it. Oh my goodness. Good thing my dad didn't come at 7, plan to come at 7:30 and have me help him because I wasn't done at 7:30. Adding that little bonus box put us a little bit over time, but I hope that it was worth it for you. So again, I don't think I re-showed the cards. We did our little Painterly Pear card was one of our cards. And then our second card was our Christmas card that opened like that. This is paper that will not be coming out until the holiday catalog. So, but I was thinking some of the paper that we have that carried over is that Cherry Cobbler and Mossy Meadow with the gold. That's still available. So if you used some of that paper with like Cherry Cobbler and if you used gold and embossed, oh, I was thinking if you embossed this in gold, how awesome that would look, but you would need a lot of it if you're making a lot of cards. So that's why I didn't do that. I ended up going with something that I didn't need to use gold. All right, that is it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I believe that next week I will be on at Tuesday again. Next week is Vacation Bible School for us. So this is crunch week, trying to get everything ready. to go for 140 kids from 9 o'clock until noon, Monday through Friday. Oh, it's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun. The time's probably just going to fly. I'm sure the week's going to fly. So say a prayer for me. But my escape will be all of you on Tuesday night. So I will see you next week. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye bye.